Welcome to Divinely Driven Results. My name is Zelee Smith, Christian business strategist, and I get to empower Christian women entrepreneurs just like you to reach their sales goals by partnering with God, empowering their mindset, and utilizing a biblical business strategy. Today, we have a really exciting topic. It's all about the strategy of divine branding and design. So if you want to eliminate the lack of confidence and self-doubt that, let's be honest, creeps up when we're doing the Lord's will, and especially in our businesses, and you want to streamline content creation like never before, and really being the ideal provider to your dream clients, you are in the right place, ladies, because today we have an incredible guest. Her name is Jennifer Cerna, and she is a branding expert and strategic designer. And I've gotten a chance to get to know her a little bit through being on her podcast and just talking a couple of times. And I have to tell you, she has a heart of gold. So I'm super excited to get to know more of the amazing expertise that she has. So Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Elise, so much for having me. And thank you for that amazing introduction.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I'm a branding expert and strategic designer. I love helping big dreamers build remarkable brands by transformative experiences by leveraging creative strategy, design, storytelling to take passion projects to the next level and help business owners finally attain the freedom they long for and deserve.
Ooh, I love that. And how did you get started with that?
So I basically started kind of where every person starts. Well, not really, actually. I think that my journey is a little bit different in the sense like I've always had the dream of being an entrepreneur since I was very, very young. My parents grew me up with that notion, and I've always kind of looked for what works best. And I felt that branding and marketing were two sides that I'm a very both creative and analytical person, and I'm able to marry them both in this. And yeah.
I love when we can find that balance of the things that we love to do and the things that we're good at and be able to serve people in such a really powerful way. So
agreed.
Like you do it perfectly. Well, good. So talk to us about what your clients are usually looking for when it comes to this topic.
Yeah. So what they're looking for really is just clarity, and clarity brings confidence. And ultimately, confidence is what every business owner needs and wants when doing any kind of business in any regard, whether it's building services, building products, creating packaging, doing marketing, social media, everything like comes a clear cross. And it's just creating that knowledge of like well-rounded knowledge of who they are, who they're targeting, what that target audience really like, who they really are. And having that brand personality and everything, and just knowing how to show up and how to be shown up, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so do you have a personal experience that you can share of your own branding story? I always love to kind of hear the background of why people do what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think it was just something that kind of came with my journey of learning brand strategy. It's, since college, everybody's talking about, a brand, build a brand, a logo's not a brand and everything. And everybody's talking about it since I can remember. And I was just like, okay, so then what exactly is a brand? I want to create something like that. So I went through and did a lot of coaching, did a lot of courses, books, and a lot of things that I'm still, learning and growing in. But I managed to do that. And then since you're in that world, you meet a lot of other brand strategists. And I feel like because you get that third outside perspective, you're able to get a lot of knowledge and information from yourself, because it's what we say, you can't see the outside of the label when you're inside the jar type of thing. So getting that third party perspective for me to for us to do each other's brand strategy just helped me be able to see things so clearly, understand my target audience, because everything's in here, it's in your head. You just have to know how to spell it out and have somebody grab the right information or ask you the right questions to get that information. And I had that with some other friends, and they were able to help me through that. And now I have so much clarity. And I remember being all over the place with kind of what offers I wanted to do, what marketing I wanted to do. And after doing my brand strategy, everything felt like it just clicked into place. Everything just ran smoothly. I could see the clear path, and now I'm just I was able to do this for myself. And so now I want to be able to help others be able to do the same thing for them.
Powerful. I know it's amazing when we go through something and then we feel so much more empowered to be able to serve other people through it. But sometimes we have to go through the crummy stuff to be able to do that, right?
Right. Absolutely. I say that brand strategy is a raw, hard process because we're digging through a lot of business goals and dreams and fears and shortcomings, and we're sifting through that to find the gems. And that's kind of what brand strategists are supposed to do, find those gems that you can showcase to the world and be like, this is who I am and this is what makes me different and what makes me perfect for you.
Awesome. 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 Couldn't agree more. So, today we're talking about the strategy of divine branding and design. So talk to me about how God has played a role in your business and especially when it comes to branding.
Yeah, I feel like he's the one who's really just led me every single step of the way there. Every time, I feel like I'm off track, he just brings me back to saying, no, this is exactly where you need to be, where you belong. Because we do have those moments of doubt and fear. I mean, on a weekly basis at some points. I know that I've struggled. I just came out of a recent struggle where I just went through, fasted, and it was just like he clarified so much for me and gave me so much hope for what's coming up and what he has for me. And so he really is leading every step of the way for me. And I always, try to every morning be on top of the Bible study and just invite him to be my business partner and to, be involved and guide me and motivate me, inspire me in every single step I take.
You are speaking my language, girl. I love it. So let's talk about this strategy of divine branding and design. There's so many people, I think, when it comes to branding that they answer a few questions and then they're like, okay, I have my mission statement and that's about as far as they get. Or they have a logo like you talked about earlier. Once again, your logo is not your brand. It's not the only thing that's in your brand. So talk to me about this strategy that you help your clients with.
Yeah, so I always say that the logo is kind of more the end goal and strategy is kind of like the destination getting there. So really the logo is the final piece. And what I do is help get there, it's creating. So we sit down for a couple hours to figure out, okay, who exactly is your target audience? Because I say that brand strategy is the foundation on which your business is built, but your target audience is on that foundation on which the foundation is built on. So it's, it's like double stacking, but you want to have that very extremely firm foundation for when growing and expanding. And so that's what I do with them. So we establish that target audience. And from there, I'm able to grab that information and go and pick out, what's based off of what we've talked about, where, what your visions are, what your goals are, how do we then grab that and and your target audience and make things that align really well with you, but also speak to your target audience. And so we go in and I create their customer journey to see how to get them from not knowing you to knowing you. I'm being very specific. How again, creating that a target audience profile. So creating that one page that summarizes everything. I always like to say, I like to put it in a story in progress. So you're becoming part, you're getting in, or how should I say it? You're becoming part of their story. And then there is, the brand personality, the competition analysis. And I love using storytelling and storytelling techniques from actual books and movies type of thing. And I incorporate, sprinkle a couple of things from there and just build this all out document that says, here is, who you are or who you're targeting, how you're different, where to show up, how to show up, and different tools. It's just a big toolbox to be able to give you that confidence and knowledge, because it's I'm really bad with Bible verses, so I did a little bit of research before coming here. And basically it's kind of like what Matthew 7 says when building a house on rock versus sand, and you're trying to build that all on rock, and that clarity, knowing who you are, what you're, stand for, and everything is that rock that you're building and you're forming. And that's pretty much what I do.
Beautiful. I love kudos, extra points for throwing in a Bible verse, because I usually do that. And I'm like, this is awesome. I would totally agree with you. That's that your brand it's the thing that makes you who you are, right? Like individually, yes, but also your brand as like a company, that's that foundation. And so I think the scripture you chose was perfect, is that we don't want to build on shady, on sandy ground or, anything like that, because we don't know. There's a lot of things that I think are going to come up in our path. And that brand, when you have a strong brand and you know what you stand for and you know what your business stands for, that gives you that clarity and that confidence, like you were talking about, to stand up for what you believe in and to stand in the power that your brand gives you, that really truly comes from God. So I love that. That was beautiful. So we talked about eliminating a lack of confidence and the self-doubt that of course is going to come in anytime that we hit a new level. A new devil is always going to come in, right? Let's talk about streamlining content creation, because I feel like a lot of times people really get caught up in the weeds in this, and it takes them forever and a day, and then they don't want to do it anymore because of how long it takes.
Right. Yeah. So it's really about, again, understanding, knowing kind of like what that brand voice is, where you want to show up, where your audience is. And once you kind of establish that baseline, you're able to then go in and pick some platforms that, you best shine in, that you can have fun in, because it should be about having some fun. It shouldn't be all, I have to do this, but it's going in, picking those platforms, and then being able to create just content that's very strategically talking to each point from the customer journey. I've, come recently to learn that customer journey, we've always talked about it. Everybody seems to say things about it, but I feel like nobody always, like not many people touch on it or actually implement it. And talking to each like pain point, each stage at that which where they're at is incredibly important in that content. And it doesn't have to be necessarily like, in order, because I always say like the client journey is kind of like a story you're telling, but the story doesn't have to be in order, but just having an overarching theme across all of them, making sure you're consistent about brand visuals, identity. So, the visuals, being consistent about the theme or like what you're talking about, what service, you're offering, being very clear and concise as to like what the call to offer or call to action is, and different things like that.
Awesome. Yeah. And thinking about streamlining content creation, I've been really like getting into Canva a whole lot lately, because wow, there's so much you can do on there.
Yeah.
Like whether you're a paid member or a free member. And one of the things that I noticed is that you can follow designers on Canva. So if you have a designer that you really like on Canva, you can save them in your designer like save thing. And you can watch for different things that speak to your brand and kind of copy what they're doing there. I think there's so many little hacks that we can kind of identify that can make creating content really streamlined. But the one thing I love the most about what you just said is the fact that we shouldn't come from it at a begrudgingly place, right? Like this is a way to serve our audience and to love our audience and to show the love that God has given us through the content that we create. So it should be fun and it should be a labor of love, right? What do you do to make sure that you, as a brand expert and strategic designer, and also that your clients make sure that they stay in that good place when they're creating content creation?
Yeah. So something I probably should have mentioned in the question before is already having those, that identity, ready. Canva has this place that's I think called Brand Hub. So you can put all your colors on their fonts and everything. So that already, you don't have to think that much about, recreating that every single time. You can grab a template from a favorite designer or whatnot, and then just grab it and then just be like, okay, put my stuff on there. And it does it for you pretty well, I might say. And, going and just editing to the best that you can. I'm sorry, I lost track of what the question was. Can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah. So when it comes to creating content from a place of love and service, what do you do, or what do your clients do to make sure that it's not just like one of those things that like, oh, I have to create content?
Right. Yeah. So what I was getting at is like, once you have that set, is create like experimenting and figuring out which platforms you just really love best. I always say that I'm not photogenic, but I'm very videogenic. And so that means to say, like, Instagram, not my favorite app. Like, sure, I post on there, but it's more like repurposing and, other content that I just post from other place. But TikTok, I love because I get to talk. I get to, be on video, which I feel much more comfortable with. And just lean on that as much as possible, seeing what the vibe is, how Threads is the new big thing right now. And if you like that, if that's your place, go and leverage that and be there. And it's just like, because there are going to be days where it's just hard. You don't want to create content. So knowing that it's a place that you don't hate, you're not doing it because of the shoulds everybody's telling you should, is just a great place to be at. Because again, when you don't want to do that content, it makes it so much easier, because you get over the hump of like, I don't want to do it, then you're in there and you're actually having fun. I've had that so many times where it's like, I want to do content today, but then I start, I'm like, this is actually so much fun. I don't know why I decided I didn't want to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of times the reason why we dread doing content is because we compare ourselves to other content creators or coaches or whatever. And then it's like, oh, well, my stuff is not as good as theirs. Or we look at, all my interactions weren't very good last time, or my engagement. And the fact of the matter is that it's not our job to control the results. It's our job to plant the seeds. And literally that's what we're doing every single time that we're getting content out there, is that we're planting the seeds, because you never know who is going to need what message in that moment. I've had so many people contact me and say, oh, thank you so much for posting this, or for creating this blog, or whatever it might be. I really needed this message. And when we can come at a place of love and partnered with the Spirit, just like you were talking about earlier, of partnering with God, He will tell you and show you what to write. You'll feel it in your heart, or you'll have that idea pop in your head. Follow the Spirit and you can never go wrong. Even if it doesn't get 14,000 likes or something like that. The fact of the matter is that even if it's just one person you're creating that for, it makes a difference. So absolutely. I love this conversation. Let's see, I'm trying to think of, if someone is listening to this and they're feeling a little bit shaky on their brand, they're maybe not quite as settled as they'd like to be in their brand, or maybe they're just kind of starting off, what is the best advice that you'd give them to kind of start out small and work their way up?
Yeah, so it's probably going to be cliche, but I think it's cliche for a reason. Understand your target audience. You can't do really much or anything well without it. It's kind of like, trying to launch an arrow without a target. And it doesn't have to be this like huge in-depth thing, but having like a broad understanding, at least something like jump off from. So, and I always say it's further than just the demographics, it's further than just they're this age. I always say it's like more than Sally buys seashells by the seashore. She's 24 and on Instagram. It needs to be more than that. So it needs to go into like the more why, why are they this way? What are they like? If they like this, why is it that they like this? What are some pain points and problems that they're having that I can help with? Creating that kind of little customer journey of being like, okay, this is how they get to know me, like me, trust me, and buy from me. And then kind of doing the simple stuff. And it really is tedious, because I feel like everybody talks about it, but it's talked about so much for a reason.
Yes. Amen. And you can't serve who you don't know. Right. And if you say that I serve everyone, then you truly actually serve no one, because when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And I think that that's something that I teach a lot, is understand your divine client, understand who God is calling you to serve. And then when you really place your heart and your mind into who this person is, or who you feel like it is, then you're able to write content that attracts them. Right.
Agreed. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to add is, I'm going to sneak another little Bible verse in there that I thought. It's from Habakkuk. I might be pronouncing that right or wrong. 2. It's basically saying, Lord answered me, write down this vision, clearly inscribe it on tablets so one may easily read it. And I feel like that is you can apply that to so many different contexts, but it's really just, you may know who you're talking to, but not until you have it like actually written down clearly so you can understand it. Someone who you work with can understand with, the person who you want to work with can understand it. That's where the power really lies.
So powerful. It is so powerful when you have that clear vision, just like that scripture talks about, because without the vision, people perish, right? That's another great scripture. So
another one of my favorites.
So much fun. Thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. Now, if people want to get to know more of what you do, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I am, like I mentioned, on TikTok and Instagram, both at Dream It Marketing. I'm mainly on TikTok, but again, I'm pretty active on both.
Awesome. And I want to just make sure everyone knows we do have links in the thing, but it's Dream It, JREAMIT Marketing. I don't want you to miss that. So she's got some amazing stuff. So make sure you guys go and follow her and find her wherever she's at in those different places. And then if you want more great tips on how to build your business in the Lord's way and connect with other Christian women entrepreneurs, then make sure you come join us in our free Facebook group, Faithful Ladypreneurs. There you'll be able to connect with those great ladies. We have a networking event that's free for you to join. And then also you can check out our website at divinelydrivenresults.com and book a strategy call with us today. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Jennifer, it's been a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.